When it comes to printing charts, there are essentially three major scenarios. Sometimes you are working with a chart, like we see the ones here on this worksheet called chart data. You might want to print all the charts and the data. Another scenario could be you simply want to print this chart or that chart. A third scenario could be you've got a chart on a separate sheet. Now, for whatever reason, maybe I want this green chart not to appear on the worksheet here. So I'm going to right-click in the chart area of this chart and choose Move Chart and put it on a new sheet. Click OK, and there it is. Now, if I want to print this, I can do it in a couple different ways. One way, File tab in the ribbon, Print. This is a chart on a separate sheet, and we see the chart displayed. Usually you don't have to make too many changes here in terms of the sizing. We're all set. Maybe I'll just click Print. I've got my chart printed. Escape or click the arrow in the upper left-hand corner. We're back on the sheet that has only a chart on it. Let's go back to that sheet, Chart Data, that has the other charts. Maybe I want to print these charts along with the data. Not quite sure the best layout here. Maybe I'll drag that pie chart, clicking and dragging, put it under the data to the left. And for the moment, maybe I don't want to print that sheet to the right. So there will be times when you say, I want to print some of these charts along with the data. And so in a somewhat arbitrary way, move these charts around to where you think it's a halfway sensible layout, maybe resizing them. Remember, you can click a chart, drag a corner, drag the side handles, make these charts bigger and smaller. And then highlight the cells that would include charts and the data. And as you do this and drag across the cells, you might or might not want to consider maybe changing some of the column widths here and there, and perhaps only consider highlighting this data here to be printed. Now, before deciding to print this, a couple of choices. One could be along the status bar at the bottom, you will see three icons. The left one is normal. The middle one is page layout. The one on the right is called Page Break Preview. You might want to click that. Now, this might be drawing blue lines or showing you blue lines in places you don't want them to be. This is the area that will be printed. Notice you might see in background what we call watermarks. Can't see this one too clearly, but it says page 1. Off to the right, we see page 2. I'm going to drag that right blue border leftward to stop right there. What we can't see so clearly in here is that there's another page break. But before we do much else, let's create a preview. So we can click anywhere in here. Here too, we could go to File, Print. Nice keystroke shortcut here. Make sure you click on a cell before using it. Control F2. Looking halfway reasonable, but always look at the bottom of print previews. You'll see, for example, page 1 of 2 or 1 of 1. This is 2 pages. Where do we go with this? Off to the left, you'll see page setup. One option is to click here. Fit to 1 page wide by 1 page tall. Landscape is likely to be better. That's where the page is wider than it is tall. Sometimes portrait will be better. Let's click OK and take a look at this. This will squeeze this a bit. And now we see how this is likely to appear. So that's reasonable. You could consider going back to the worksheet, maybe making the charts on the right a little bit narrower, and then possibly coming back here and expanding this. If you work with printing a lot in Excel, I think you recognize the idea that many, many times you have to play with it, move back and forth with it a little bit. So I'll click the upper chart here, make it a bit narrower, and click on the lower blue chart here and do the same kind of thing, and then shrink that area that's to be printed. Now, this isn't a requirement. It may or may not look better. We can bring in the blue handle that way. And once again, jump to our print preview. I'm going to move this chart a little bit to the left and the lower one also. Click on a cell, press Control F2. Remember, the other way to get there is by way of File, Print. Now everything is a little bit bigger, and perhaps that's a little bit better. But lots of options there to pursue. Another approach to all this too, pressing the Escape key, is without using that page break preview. So I'm going to go down there in the lower right corner of the status bar, the third button from the right, Normal View. Another approach is to highlight cells, and I'll make this column a little bit narrower first. I'm going to highlight all these cells from here upward to include the data and the various charts, and then go to the Page Layout tab and choose Print Area, Set Print Area. So that's another way to select the data that you want. Now, it looks like this white chart here is slightly overlapping the edge. I'd want to pull that in a little bit to the left. There we are. So, but if we have set the print area, we should be able to go back to File, Print, or Control F2, either way, and take a look at it again this way. Now, that other option that I mentioned but I haven't shown you yet is simply similar to the idea that we saw earlier when I clicked on the chart that was on a separate sheet. So if I simply click a chart, for example, this line chart with the blue background, if now I go to File, Print, I'm on the path to printing only that sheet. And here, of course, the example shows this is portrait. Wouldn't look so good. You can make that change over here on the left as well, too, without going to page setup. Portrait orientation, how about landscape? That would be better. And not bad. Might not have to do anything else with that. Simply print it, and we could do that. So lots of options for considering printing. The basic idea, though, is sometimes you want to print a chart or charts only. At other times, you want to print the chart with the data. You'll have to be highlighting and manipulating the charts as you saw here. And there could be those times when you've moved the chart to a separate sheet, and here it's automatic. Whatever you print will be the chart and the chart only. So different techniques for considering printing charts in Excel.